I think he wants to see us be brave. What do you think? I think so. Oh my goodness, second week of June. Spiritual living by living the value of accountability. Now, if you were here last week, you got to experience my huge amount of enthusiasm around the theme of this month. Really cool theme. And we did something really special last week, which everybody's going to get an opportunity to do again today. But first of all, but first, I want to start out by sharing a little bit about our week. It's been a week here at the center. It's probably been one of the busiest weeks. We ended the service last week with a huge gong bath, most powerful one I've ever been with, been in attendance with Richard. And then, my goodness, we have 8 going. 8 of us are going to teen summer camp. And this week we got everybody registered. We got the plane tickets purchased. It was just, it was, woo-hoo is right. A lot of good stuff going on there. Yes. 8. It's the most we've ever taken to summer camp. So I am just so grateful to be a part of our amazing teen group that is growing by leaps and bounds under the beautiful supervision of Raina, our youth and families director. And then I didn't actually ask her if I could do this, but I've been bragging about her all week, so I'll go ahead and finish. And I'll say that also this past week, we worked on, she had her paneling to get her ecclesiastical endorsement on her chaplaincy certification this past week. So let's everybody congratulate Raina after the service. She's in with the team. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. And we've had congregants, we've had congregants in the hospital, we've had congregants have surgery, we've had congregants experience some shocking things this week. So we've done a lot of celebrating, and we've done a lot of being gifted with the opportunity. Let's see by raise of hands here. How many of you that were here last week had been gifted with so many opportunities to possibly complain this week? Isn't it funny how that works? We're going to talk about that in a minute. But first, let's go to slide 3. Because first, these folks right here, do you know what they're saying? They're saying, dude, where were you Friday night at our cookout campout? How many of you guys here in the audience, in the congregation, were at the Friday night cookout campout? Raise your hand. Yeah. So let's scroll through. Let's go. So I've got some camping memes that I get. So it was a huge success because May the Forest be with you. So we've got the sloth. I just want to go camping, guys, and look at the stars, roll in the grass, and let nature cuddle me. That was me Friday night. Campfires, best therapy ever. How many of us just really got into that drumming? And boy, we howled and we screamed and we drummed, and we also made s'mores around the campfire. But wait, there's s'more. Dude, that camping trip was intense. It was intense, but intense in a good way. Because at least with ours, because we knew the forecast was going to be super dry, so we didn't put the rain fly on our tent. And so it was complete, it had no roof, we got to watch the beautiful moonrise and the stars and the wild animals. It was just amazing. So, and then go camping, I'll pack a tent. So we had an amazing turnout Friday night. Let's scroll through the pictures. We had about 40 come for the cookout, and about 20 people camped. But here is just a little show of our first annual huge success cookout campout at the Averys. Yeah, taking in all those incredible pictures. There was also chickens running around all over the place too. Next slide. Got some more pictures here. What a huge success. My badminton buddy Jason, he's in with the teens. So we played badminton, we played volleyball, we played horseshoes. We had campfires and s'mores, and we drummed and we grilled and we ate. I mean, it was just fabulous. It was amazing. So those of you that attended, you ready to do that again next year? Oh, yeah. And those of you that weren't there, you ready to go next year? It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. So let's go to the next slide. This is what we talked about a little bit. This is what we talked about a little bit last week. Now, this might have been the case before last Sunday, but as of this week, our line was long in the gratitude section, wasn't it? Now, a few people came up to me after service last Sunday and said, boy, you're brilliant. Because we made some changes in the service last week, and they said, how perfect is it that the Sunday you make changes in the service, you have everybody stand and commit to no complaining for a whole month. And I said, yeah, that's how we roll here. So we also, camped with each other. The first week we said we weren't going to complain, and it was just such a beautiful time. I think somebody at breakfast the next morning around the campfire was talking, and then they stopped, and they were like, I'm complaining, aren't I? Oh. And I'm like, but that's what it's all about, is being aware, is realizing it, because we get into these automatic recordings and we just fall into this old habit of relating. And we talked about that a lot last week. So that was not us this week. I know it wasn't. Let's go to the next slide. This was last week. These different reasons why we covered these, why people might complain, get attention, remove responsibility, inspire envy, to gain power, and to excuse poor performance. But we entered last week a complaint-free zone for the whole month. So raise your hand or clap if you noticed your life change immediately from not complaining last week. Did you notice it made a difference? Made a huge difference for me. It's not lost on me that some of you know we found out suddenly a couple of weeks ago that we needed to move my grandmother, and so my sister and my mother and I have been working to pack her stuff up and go through it and find her a place to live. And even beloved Tony went out early Friday morning before our camping and helped move Grandma. But last Sunday, after the gong bath, my job was to drive up north and help Grandma pack and help us sort through some stuff. It's not lost on me that the day that I stood and committed to no complaining for the whole month, we got stuck on an elevator twice. Twice, and I'm not complaining. I'm giving you the facts here. The facts were we got stuck on an elevator, the police were called, the fire department was called, all of that happened, and I just laughed through it all. It was just hilarious. The whole experience was just hilarious. So it's a perfect way that we talked last week about when we enter into this complaint-free zone. In this moment, the most powerful moment that there is not necessarily going to change at all, but how we see this moment, how we feel about this moment, how we invite it into our psyche, how we determine and perceive how it's going to affect us is where the change is, right? And then something really amazing and beautiful happens. I'm jumping ahead of myself, but I think it's right to do this. It is right here, 20. This is so powerful. If you'll go to my 20, here we go, folks. Sums it right up. Your life is right now. It is not later. It's not in that time of retirement. It's not when the lover gets here. It's not when you're moved into the new house. It's not when you get the better job. Your life is right now, and it will always be right now. You might as well decide to start enjoying your life right now, because it's not ever going to get any better than right now until it gets better right now. Do you get it? So that's what happens when we committed to having a month of no complaining, is we are rewiring ourselves, because we talked about how complaining wires the brain for negativity. We're actually wiring our lives for being in that magical, mystical flow. And today we get to dive into having the courage to do the right thing. Unlocking that magic that occurs in our life when we live in the highest level of integrity possible, and we do it from the heart. Last week and last month, or 2 months ago, we did this exercise in our practitioner meeting, and then Raina did it with the teens last Sunday. And I'm giving it to you, I'm presenting it to you today as an additional tip to get us through this month of no complaining, okay? We always need good tips. So with our form of prayer, spiritual mind treatment, we did this exercise where, what if you were speaking to someone, like if you were to go to a practitioner, or even if you were to just talk to a friend about something that you're wanting and desiring to know something greater about in your life. And what if you took all the words out and you just used the word blah? And I'm gonna connect with you because there's something just that's got me by the tail. And I'm gonna go up to you and I'm just gonna tell you all about it. But I'm gonna use the word blah to do it. I'm going to be like blah, 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 and I'm talking about the elevator last Sunday, blah, 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 and blah, 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 and I just get it all out. And that person then does prayer for me, knowing the truth, by using the word love. So love, 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 love. And so it's about the feeling and not the words. And the teens loved it because they're like, you mean when I get really upset and mad at my mom and I know better than to say the words that I want to say, I can just use the word blah, get it off my chest, and then move into the love portion and just really shift that energy. And they loved it. They were all over it. And I'm like, I'm going to share this with you guys today so that as you move through the rest of your month of no complaining, if you catch yourself wanting to do that or needing to do that, go into the blah, just get it off your chest, and then go into the love. And then I got to thinking, because we're diving deep this morning into this having the courage to do the right thing. I was like, well, what if it was all love? Because that's really what we were talking about last Sunday, and we're going to bring it more in today. What if it's all love? All these things that we think come up for us for complaining, we know that we're completely supported in all ways all the time. I know that. I have faith in that. And I've already talked that there's never a spot where God is not. There's never a time where the divine is not got its fingers in it, right? It's generally about our perception. So what if we approached all of it with love, even the blah part? Because what if it's all love? Like, I know for a fact why that elevator got stuck on us twice. I know for a fact why we got stuck in that elevator. It was because my poor mother and grandmother had worked themselves to the bone. They were tired, they were weary. My mom had a spot on her that was not healing. I know they needed a day off. And what better way to give you a day off? Because my grandma lived on the top floor. And so there was really no way, she's 86, there was no way we were going to climb the stairs to the top floor to finish packing. And we knew that they were going to need a whole day for them to fix the elevator. So it was such a huge, wonderful gift. And it wasn't scary. I laughed the whole time, honestly. I mean, it was not scary. So I know that our blahs are really love, showing up in our lives and showing itself in these wonderful opportunities. We had a congregant fall and break her ankle in 3 places, and she needed to have surgery, and she's somebody that, is always going full tilt, full tilt. And what an opportunity. I went and saw her this past week, and I was telling her, I was like, what an opportunity for you to just kind of take some introspection time, right? Get to know yourself a little bit. She's not able to move around right now, so she's kind of got to do that introspection time. I know what it's like to schedule yourself to the max, because life is wild and crazy and full and vibrant and all of that great stuff. But sometimes we need that introspection time, don't we? Sometimes we reveal that through the appearance of disease or getting sick, so that we have to dial it down. Yet when we enter that level of awareness, like where someone shared with me Saturday morning at the campsite, oh, I'm complaining, aren't I? We step into this idea of awareness, because it's all about discernment. We have the choice, we have the power to take care of that all the time. So number 9, my number 9, I don't know what it is for you. We made that commitment, go 24 hours. And then I asked you all, I said, how the best way to eat an elephant is 1 bite at a time. So if it just seems so overwhelming to commit to doing a whole month of no complaining, do it 1 day at a time. Get through 1 day of no complaining and watch how your life starts changing. So how many of you took it 1 day at a time last week? I did, 1 day at a time. Sometimes it was 1 hour at a time. Blah, 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 love, 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 blah, blah, love, love. Sometimes it was 1 hour at a time, but 1 day at a time. How many of you had some shifts last week? Some awareness? Yeah, I've got some heads, heads going up and down. I got some hands going up. Absolutely. So Michael Bernard Beckwith says this: it's not what's the meaning of life. The question we ask is, how can I give my life meaning? How can I give my life meaning? It's all entirely up to us. And it's to have the courage to do the right thing, which is having the courage to be aware, to have that introspection, knowing the truth of yourself, and then being aware of what you're investing in. Being aware and taking responsibility for the good vibrations or not so good vibrations that you are and that you're sending out into the world. Because we're responsible for that. When we remember what we are, expressions and incarnations of the Divine Spirit, we have all the courage and the powers of discernment needed to identify the right thing, to identify that stance and that state of being that is not complaining, that's the opposite of complaining, and to stand up for that in every second. It is only our humanity, sometimes associated with our ego, that gets tangled up in circumstances that become fearful or defensive or even combative. And the list of reaction can go on and on. This internal hysteria, which sometimes shows up as how we treat those around us, and other times it's turned inwardly through self-destructive thoughts and behaviors, is only truly lastly healed when we remember and fully embrace what we really are, an activity of God. An activity of God. In this moment, an activity of God. What about the next moment? An activity of God. And the next moment, it's an activity of God. There's no way out of it, folks. It's always an activity of God. And so I was speaking with someone last night at the concert. Yes, we went to the Collective Soul Big Head Todd and the Monsters concert last night at Red Rocks. And I got the opportunity, I'm always getting these opportunities, blah, 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 love, 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 talking to somebody, and I was like, I think it really all boils down to 99.9% of all of our seeming turmoil or conflict or not feeling all that great or things that we want to complain about comes down to not living in the moment. Because if we were living in the moment, and like that wonderful slide that I showed that was a quote of Abraham's, was, it's not ever going to get better than right now until it gets better right now. And we have that power of discernment over that. So it really begins right now in the super power of the present moment. And then we bring in that discernment. So when we remember and fully embrace what we really are, an activity of God, God is whole, perfect, and complete, and so are we, just like his amazing song before prayer, and we experience it to the extent that we remember the truth. So you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, what's that got to do with what we're going to dive into today? Where's she going with this? Well, I promise you, I'm going somewhere. I'm going somewhere. Let's go with the next slide, 10. Negativity, it can only affect you if you're on the same frequency, vibrate higher. And I shared this with you last week, and then how do we do that? How do we vibrate higher? In this moment, we recognize and remember that we are truly the activity of God. But there's something about that. We have to give it the intention of wanting to be in that place. And where I'm going with that is we get caught up thinking that there is a way we're supposed to live and show up and move and have our being in this life, whether it's through a particular role that's been placed on us or one that we agreed to at one time. But we have this power of a discernment in this moment. Like at the concert last night, we were sitting next to a couple who has never missed a Big Head Todd concert that they shared with me. And they talked all in all about the time they were at Red Rocks last year, and it was a huge storm, and they didn't pick the right band to open for them. It was, who was it? Some country singer. And they said it just didn't go together, and they had to listen to the country singer, and then when Big Head Todd got on, it stormed, and the concert was canceled. It was like they were just constantly complaining about how it was last year while we were at the concert. So I was just thinking, I was telling them, I was like, yeah, well, what do you think of the opening band this time? Oh, great. It was an excellent match. Yeah, you're really enjoying it. Yeah. And are you enjoying Big Head Todd now? Yeah, he's kicking it. He's killing it. This is awesome. Good. Let's all listen to the music and enjoy this right now, shall we? It's like they really weren't getting the fact that they were stuck in the past, talking about how their experience previously was, that was taking away from their present experience. And I know I'm not saying anything super out there and super highly wisdom or in intelligence. I know I'm not like blinding you with my high wisdom this morning, because all of this we know. Yet this week, when you raised your hand and I said, how many of you had so many opportunities this week to not complain? It's true. It comes up for us. We're gifted with those opportunities to build that spiritual muscle and to turn the ship around whenever we need to. So with that, think of the movie Liar, Liar. How many of you in here saw that movie, Liar, Liar, Jim Carrey? Absolutely hilarious movie. But the whole overall theme of the movie is, you know, he's a big shot defense attorney working for a big shot defense attorney legal firm that makes a whole lot of money, pretty much getting guilty people off free is pretty much what they did. You know that saying of how wealthy are you? There's a saying that goes something like, how much money do you have to not be guilty, kind of thing. So it's almost like the amount of money you have to put into your defense can get you off. So the premise of the movie was this: he lived this lifestyle of needing to be in that position. He would lie, cheat, steal. He would do anything he could to win a case, to be seen in a certain way, for people to like him so that he could get things done. But he started realizing through the movie the most important thing to him was his son, Max. And he kept missing Max's baseball games, and he was missing his birthday because things would come up that was more important to him, he thought, which was his job, winning cases, that kind of thing. But then remember what happened when he missed Max's birthday party after promising that he wouldn't. Max made a wish that his dad could not tell a lie. And then poof, it happened. And so all of a sudden, he could not tell a lie. Do you guys remember this part in the movie? He had to say the truth about everything. Everything. So when he walks in the office and the person greets him, you know, he's telling them exactly what he thinks. He's in the elevator, and a whole bunch of people are in the elevator, and they're all kind of got these weird faces on their face, and he walks out of the elevator, and he's like, it was me, because he passed gas on the elevator, and he had to own up to it. He had to tell the truth about everything. And there was this case that he was working on where it had to do with children and this loving, devoted father and this younger woman that he had married. And the movie was depicted that she was in it all about the money. She wanted the money. She was using the kids to get the money. And he was fighting it. And it looked like Jim Carrey was going to lose the case. And he had a really good record. He hadn't lost a case. But he had to tell the truth now. And do you remember he went into the bathroom and beat himself up so that he could get the case extended? And he goes back in, and of course he looks horrendous because he did a really good job of beating himself up. But the judge asked him, can you continue? And he had to tell the truth. He was like, yes, I can continue. So it's very symbolic. Each aspect of this is so symbolic, kind of like the complaining, where it gets us out of all those things that really isn't the highest level of vibrational frequency that we want to operate our life from, right? Yeah, it'll get us out of those things, but are we showing up as our activity of the divine, as the greatest that we could possibly show up, right? So when he said, yes, I can go ahead and finish this case, it dawned on him that she lied about her age. So when she actually signed the agreement, that thing you sign before you get married, prenup, thank you, that she was not a legal adult, so it was null and void. So she won the case. But in that moment, he saw what happened. You see, he was awakened to something greater. He was awakened to something greater. He saw how much the father loved the kids and just wanted to take care of them. He saw how much she really didn't care about them at all, and she just wanted the money. And then he was like, no, I must do something. The right thing to do is not winning anymore. The right thing to do is to do right by the kids and to do right by this and to do right by that. So he's like, Judge, you've made a mistake. Now that goes over real well in a courtroom, right? Right? He actually says, Judge, you've made a mistake. Judge is like, I know you're not questioning my authority in my own courtroom. So see, the judge also knew what the right thing was, but then ego came into play on that. and he held him in contempt of court, and he had to go into a jail cell. Now, the reason why I'm sharing all of this with you is, you see, it's the perfect movie to symbolize how we move through our level of conscious awareness, how we vibrate at a higher level of frequency that then leads us to make different choices about what's the highest and best in our life. In that moment, when the movie started, what he believed was the highest and best in his life was to make a lot of money and drive a very fast sports car and to lie all the time so that he could win. And that was important to him. And then he started seeing life through Max's eyes, this beautiful son of his. And he's like, oh my God, winning is not the most important thing to me. So through his time of having to tell the truth, he learned a higher understanding. He learned and reset his guiding system to something that vibrated at a higher level of awareness, a higher level of energy. That's what we have instigated this week as setting the intention of going a full 30 days without complaining. We are giving ourselves opportunity to be discerning about the kind of energy we want to invest in our particular moment. In this moment, right now, what is the highest and best? And if I'm feeling something that feels like it's not the highest and best, remember the blah blah and the love love, then we get to go within and we get to ask ourselves about it. And then there's those people that we deal with, right? We can go to the slide about 11, the next one. This is where it really comes into play. Be kind to unkind people because they need it the most. Or I say be kind to the people that just seem like, they just seem so lost. We've got a few of those people right now showing up on TV a lot. And they just seem so lost. So they're the ones that need our love and kindness the most, right? Because that's when I need the most love and kindness, is when I temporarily forgot that I was living spirit incarnate going on at the moment. That's when I need it the most. So we want to be kind to unkind people in that way. And this is why. Go to the next slide. We're turning it pretty personal today. I know you all have probably heard this quote a million times. Today, I'd like for you to read it in retrospect to what I am sharing with you about the movie Liar Liar and Jim Carrey and where we vibrate at a higher level. If you want to awaken all of humanity, then awaken all of yourself. If you want to eliminate the suffering in the world, then eliminate all that is dark and negative in yourself. Truly, the greatest gift you have to give is that of your own self-transformation. That's what we're going through right now, is our own self-transformation. Those opportunities that came up for us this week to give us opportunities to complain, it brought up those areas inside of ourselves that we may not have been aware of, but we're asking to be aware of now, so that we no longer invest our energy into it. You guys following me? I know you are. I can tell. I know you're following me. And there's a reason for that, because just like with Jim Carrey, every single time that we do that and bring ourselves back into the moment and reveal that we truly are the activity of the divine operating in that moment, we raise that vibrational alignment and energy of ourselves. And that gives us the confidence, the energy, to then make that decision again in the next moment. You see, we continue to up-level. We're continuing to up-level. We're continuing to up-level. And so I was working with somebody this week, you know, and they were doing really, really good. And they were like, but I was doing really, really good. And then I don't know what happened. Something triggered me. And I fell back into my old ways and my old ways of behaving and thinking and believing. And I'm like, but that's really awesome. Because whatever it is that came up, and they had awareness of that in the moment, they were able to really look at square in the face and make a discerning decision about whether they wanted to continue with it or not. There's power in that. Power in us having the courage to do the right thing. You know, we talked a little bit last week of that cycle that goes on, that payoff that we get when we complain. There's payoff. There's like 5 things that we talked about last Sunday that we get when we complain. But it's pretty temporary. The payback is pretty temporary in the moment. We want to go a whole 30 days without complaining, So the idea is to not pick the temporary, what would seem easy way out, but to do the work, have the courage to do the right thing, have the courage to really discern what's highest and best for yourself and others in that moment. And we constantly receive that. We constantly receive the divine direction that we need when we're paying attention. I had somebody else share with me, oh my gosh, I just had a major deja vu. This deja vu was this dream that I had a few weeks ago, and it's happening right now. And everything that's happened to me in these last 30 minutes has given me direct, clear, concise answers to things that I have been working with. And it's all clear to me now. They call it a download. You know, that's how it works. We're in the flow all the time. What's being downloaded? What are we paying attention to? Do we have the courage to do the right thing by listening and paying attention? We can all go through the same activity, but we're not all going to have the same experience. It's up to us to discern what's the highest and best for us alone. It's really a beautiful, powerful space to be in. He keeps telling me to move my hair, and I don't know why. I'm not doing anything. Okay. So great teachers throughout the ages, that's too high. Great teachers throughout the ages have told us that until we are willing to embrace the truth of our being, confront our egoic-based fears of rejection and separation, and to be what we truly are, we will not be fulfilled. Jesus is quoted in the Gospel of Thomas by having said, if you bring forth that which is within you, what you bring forth will save you. Think about Jim Carrey and Liar, Liar here. If you do not bring forth that which is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. Steve Jobs, he gave sound advice when he declared your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and your intuition. Every single moment, though. You know, we come here in the morning and we hear these things, and we go to classes and we hear these things and we practice them. But it's every single moment. The beautiful couple we were sitting next to or dancing next to last night at the concert, she was, I don't know, maybe there was some beacon within me that said, please complain about everything in your life at the moment so that I can help you shift that. So she started talking about this company that she used to work for, that she loved working for this company, but she wasn't in alignment with their values anymore. They were doing some stuff that was kind of outside of her realm of what she thought was right and good for society and culture. And so she left. And I was like, but she really wanted to, she wanted to complain about the experience. And I said, well, what did you do about it? Well, I left. I said, okay. I said, but if you feel that way, do you think it's possible other people might have felt that way too? Oh, yes, we were all up in arms about it, and our feathers were ruffled. I said, well, what did you do about it? Did you say anything? Did you talk to people? Maybe do what needed to be done to possibly change policy or to up-level the management and their ability to perceive what was going on? Blah, blah, blah. No. I said, well, have a voice. If you don't like what you're experiencing, what is mine to do about it? First thing that's mine to do is to have the courage to do the right thing. And like Winston Churchill said, sometimes it's stand up and say something, sometimes it's sit down and listen. And it's about having the courage to be aware, to receive that divine guidance, like the dream and the deja vu, and watching and paying attention, because we know what it's like when we're in the flow. We know what it's like when we're not in the flow. It's a difference between sailing and stubbing our foot, stubbing our toe. It's truly that easy and clear. And so we have this thing dwelling up inside of ourselves that gives us the courage to do the right thing. It's our intuition. It's our connection to the divine. It is truly unlocking the magic of, it's what my title is, unlocking the magic of living life and integrity from the heart. Being integrity with yourself. With which self? With which self? Which self do I want to guide my life in? Which self do I want to plant the fertile seeds that's going to deliver the most and highest manifestation and demonstration? I know the difference. If I stop and ask myself, I know the difference every single time. So let's, as we're moving through this month of being in a complaint-free zone, let's do that and gift ourselves with that opportunity to align ourselves with that, with doing the right thing. And then when we do that, when we align ourselves with the truth of doing the right thing, it no longer seems to require courage. The courage part falls away because it turns into the most easiest, most natural way to be in the world. The stressors that commonly accompany most of us drop away because we're in congruence. We're in congruence with our inner self. We're in congruence with how we express that in the world, and we're in total and direct right alignment with spirit itself. Oh, doesn't that feel good? Doesn't it? How many of you want to be in congruent, direct right alignment with spirit itself all the time? Yes, me. I do. Blah, 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 blah. Love, 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 love. So you see where, as I was going through the week, the blahs shifted and it all turned into love. The love, 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 love. When you've got that thing to complain about, when you've got that thing grabbing you by the tail, what if you were to express it as love? Because that's what it is. Whether it's that around you that is creating that resonance for it to bring it to your attention, or that within you that is creating that resonance to bring it to your attention, it's all done out of love. Every single bit of it. So, our Rumiism, I kept the same, and there's a reason for that. So let's go to 17. Many of you got to meet Rumi and play with Ruby on Friday night. Rumi's our beloved Finnish Spitz that is very wise. And here's our Rumiism, and it's the same one from last week. Live as if everything is rigged in your favor. Because that's what we're talking about this month. Everything is rigged in your favor, even the blah, 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 blahs. Even the things that we would tend to complain about. If we weren't complaining about it, what would we be doing about it? Because it's rigged in our favor. How's it rigged in our favor? What makes it in our favor? Our discernment. It's up to us, and it's powerful. It can be intimidating, I know. It can be intimidating. It can be exhausting. It can be, oh my goodness, I don't want to adult today. But it can also be super empowering. It can be off the charts ecstatic. It is that which allows and reveals the joy and the peace and the power and the light and the life and the harmony of the divine itself to have its way in our life and to show up in that way. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Have been there, know what it's like? Yes, 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 amen. Amen is right. So we turn to 15, and there's a reason why I'm going to share this with you. My 15, I don't know what it is for you. You're the trustees of this energy that creates worlds. And as you allow it to flow through you, amazing things happen. So those of you that were here last week, I'd like to share this again because it's super important and it goes with this. So here we go. It's about the complaint-free world that Will Bowen wrote about. And I'm going to share it with you again based on what we just read as to why this is so important. Were the great leaders of the United States also complainers? I'd have to say no. These important men and women allowed dissatisfaction to drive them to great visions, and their passion for these visions inspired others to follow them. Their relentless focus on a bright future raced the collective heartbeat of this nation. Their method of transforming our consciousness as a country and as a result our future was best summarized by Robert Kennedy. There are those that look at things the way they are and ask why. I dream of things that never were and ask why not. On August 28, 1963, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. did not stand on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial and say, "Isn't it terrible how we're being treated?" No. He spoke those words that struck a chord with our nation and is still bringing tears to the eyes of those hearing him nearly a half a century later. He did not focus on the problem, he focused beyond the problem. He declared, "I have a dream." Dr. King created in our minds a vivid picture of a world without racism, and he said that he had been to the mountaintop, right? The mountaintop. In the moment, in the power of the present moment, where we have the courage to do the right thing and discern at the highest level of our being, we are at the mountaintop. So his words took us there, as well as the Declaration of Independence. Thomas Jefferson did clearly state, okay, here's a question. Or a statement. Thomas Jefferson did clearly state the challenges the colonies were having under the governance of the British Empire. However, his document signed July 4th, 1776 was not a litany of gripes. Had it been, it probably would have never caught the imagination of the world and unified the colonies. The first paragraph of the U.S. Declaration of Independence reads, "When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and the equal station to which the laws of nature and nature's God entitles them." So take a breath, because that's a lot of words. For a moment, imagine you are a colonist of one of the 13 colonies and you take this in. Are you with me, Ross? Okay. The separate and equal station to which the laws of okay, I covered that. This is the part that I want us to take in. The separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them. At the time Jefferson wrote this, England was the world's greatest superpower, and Jefferson stated without hyperbole that these fledgling and diverse colonies were equal to this political behemoth. You could have heard the collective gasp that inspired among the colonists, followed by the resulting swell of pride and enthusiasm. How could they ever aspire to such a lofty ideal to be equal to England? Because the laws of nature and of nature's God entitled them. This was not complaining, this was a compelling vision for a bright future. What is your compelling vision of a bright future? For your very life in this moment, dealing with all of the external influences that we deal with, what is your brightest vision for your future? Do you have the courage to do the right thing to support that? Every moment of every day. Do you? I'm asking that. Do you? How many of you do? Some of you. Very good. What's it going to take to get all of you to raise your hand there? What's it going to take, Joe? What do you think? What do you think? I don't know. Probably stating this affirmation that we're going to state in just a minute. How about that? I think so. I think so. All right, folks. Let's go to the second to last one, 22. This is what I'm talking about. I'm going to use humor here. Hey, the prisoner looks very nice, but that's not what I meant by 20 lashes. Okay? This is a paradigm shift, folks. It's a paradigm shift. What if, let's see, I knew I'd get your attention if I used comedy. What if we shifted the paradigm within ourselves to where when we hear, give this person 20 lashes, this is what the result is. Right? Do you see and feel and hear the difference? Yes. Yes. There is a difference. To have the courage to do the right thing, the most empowered, top of the mountain vision that you have for your life, do you have the courage to do the right thing and invest in every discerning decision in your life right now? by entering a complaint-free zone, by thinking the highest and best, by doing the love, 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 by putting 20 lashes of beauty on that which in the past you would have been asked to harm. Do you get where I'm going here? Yes. Yes. So we're going to end and conclude with the statement that we stated last week. We're going to do this every Sunday this month, and it is this affirmation right here. So everybody take a nice long deep breath in and let it out. And we are going to say this together. I am a center in the divine mind, a point of God-conscious life, truth, and action. My affairs are divinely guided and guarded into right action, into correct results. Everything I do, say, or think is stimulated by the truth. There is power in this word I speak because it is of the truth, and it is the truth. There is perfect and continuous right action in my life and my affairs. All belief in wrong action is dispelled. Right action alone has power, and right action is power, and power is God, the living Spirit Almighty. This Spirit animates everything that I do, say, or think. Ideas come to me daily, and these ideas are divine ideas. They direct me and sustain me without effort. I am continuously directed. I am compelled to do the right thing at the right time and to say the right word at the right time, to follow the right course at all times. Amen, hallelujah, and so it is. Right? So you'll know that last Sunday we introduced one of our new things here at the center, and it's called a community prayer tool, Aligning with the Divine. And on this card, every month will have a different color. On this card is a affirmative prayer treatment written by one of our prayer practitioners, one of our licensed practitioners here at the center. And that prayer is written in regards to the theme of the month. And on the back will be 3 affirmations. These 3 affirmations will also have to do with the theme of the month in regards to health, finances, and relationship. Now there's a caveat. The prayer, who knows what the 3rd step of affirmative prayer treatment is? 3rd step. Realization. Realization. It's our affirmation. It's the whole reason why we're doing the prayer. The 3rd step is left blank. The 3rd step is left blank so that you can put your affirmation in this prayer. Or you can flip it over and pick one of the affirmations already written for you in that moment to put in the prayer. And it's a gift that we are given every Sunday now. And during our Sacred Walk of Abundance, you'll be coming up and getting your card. How many of you still have your card from last week and have been reading it daily? Yay, love it. I'm putting mine where I can see it every morning and every night because I read it before I get up, or right after I get up and right before I go to bed. So I wanted to give you all that weren't here last Sunday a little heads up about our community prayer tool. They're written by our practitioners today. Our community prayer tool was written by our beloved practitioner emeritus, Cindy Cleveland, who is holding consciousness for us today. See how Spirit works? Isn't that amazing? So Joe, would you please sing us into the next experience? Thank you.